Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Zilliqa, taking a look at the most recent price action and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, subscribe and you'll stay up to date with all the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into today's video. We'll kick things off with our 1 hour time frame. So Zilliqa paired up with USDT and we are on Binance as our data source here for this one. Now we are in a bearish structure from a smart money concepts. This actually happened yesterday, I believe. The 4th at 1 a.m. That is UTC +1. So we can see just here essentially that we have this bearish structure starting out. Now this is obviously slippage to the downside after we had a little bit of a rally to the upside again. This is what we were talking about last week. We were expecting altcoins to kind of get a little rally. So here we can see a 10% drop after rallying up. Okay, so we can see a good run to the upside from the 11th of September. We saw this recent move as well from the 27th of September upwards towards the 2nd of October. Okay, and we can now start to see this slippage back to the downside. Now, for the most part, it does to me look like we've completed a 5-wave move to the downside here. So we can start to expect a bit of a run upwards before we kind of see more downward price action. So my expectations here are that we're going to push up a little ways. I'm not expecting terribly too much. I mean, I can just briefly on this hourly chart. It's quite difficult with these smaller market cap projects right now. But I would expect us to move down maybe to 1.65 towards 1.64 before we kind of get a run upwards. But a run upwards is kind of what I'm looking for. The higher range on that, where my expectations will be, if let's hypothetically say we do get that 1.645 low point. Let's just keep it around about here. Gives us a conservative target right on that 200 EMA. Okay, so this is basically between 1 and 1.236 on the fib scale at 1.7 cent to 1.71 cent. Okay, so that's going to be the area right on that 200 EMA, just below equilibrium. So if we do rally up to the 1.382, that's going to be equilibrium. We'll then expect a little bit further to the upside afterwards, after a small retracement, just to complete a WXYXZ pattern. But for the most part, the expectation is really just to hit that 200 EMA and get rejected from there, like we had seen previously. Okay, so for us, for Zilliqa on the 1 hour time frame, that's my expectations. We should be thinking about ultimately a move to the upside, but then maybe a little bit further to the downside first. If I were to trade this, how would I trade it? Well, I'd be looking at either coming in right now with a stop loss below my swing low and then take profit up in that range. Again, that's going to get me 1.4 risk reward ratio, so it's not going to be ideal. So waiting for a smaller retracement, probably more towards that area where we had the existing low, so the local low down here about 1.65. That would be a nice conservative entry. Again, stop loss down at 1.627 below the swing low, and then of course TP on the, I'll take profit on the 200 EMA, gets you a risk reward ratio around 2.36, and that would be my approach to it, because I do think we have a little bit of a retracement to the downside before we rally to the upside. Okay, so on an hourly chart, if I were to trade it, that's kind of how I would approach it. Let's take this out of the hourly though and into the daily. And from the daily standpoint, we are in a bearish structure. In fact, we've been in a bearish structure for a very long time here on Zilliqa, as no surprise to many people. Ultimately, we have a change of characterization from bullish to bearish. Then we broke that structure, or more specifically, we have a CTS, and that basically has confirmed that we are bearish. I don't really like the idea of saying break of structure. I know it's technically what is written here, but it's not a break of the current structure. It's more of a confirmation of the structure. And so we have the change of characterization to bearish and then confirmation that we are bearish. Okay. And then, of course, we can see another 2 of these down here as well. So more breaks of structures or more CTSs that basically essentially confirms that we are still in that bearish structure. So for the most part, we are not going to be getting too carried away thinking that Zilliqa is going to the moon right now, when we know that the structure is bearish from a smart money concepts point of view. Now, there's no, as I can see here, fair value gaps that have not yet been filled. So all of that is looking good on this daily time frame. We do have the bear market low that was achieved on the 11th of September. So again, we're still setting new bear market lows on many altcoins. Zilliqa is no exception to that. And our expectations are that we're going to continue to move on down even a little bit deeper. Taking a look at our patterns here, this looks like a 5-wave drop. So we are either completing that move, which I don't think we are, but we'll go ahead and check to see if this is diagonal, because it is a possibility that it is. But I think this is just going to be right in between. Yeah, so it's actually WXYXZ, and so that down here is actually just the beginning of that structure, in my opinion. It could be diagonal, of course. The only diagonal that could be... Nope, can't be diagonal, in fact. So, yeah, so for the most part, yeah, it's got to be fitting within its structure. I would expect another 5-wave move to the downside. But again, I still see this as a potential move upwards first before we do finally, finish that off to the downside. Okay, so new bear market lows, I think, are still on the horizon. We're not yet done, but we're getting very close, in my opinion, to this one. We'll see how it kind of fares over the next few weeks. Take it up to the weekly time frame. And you can see the momentum is shifting upwards here, and it's not looking too great at the moment. So we have to kind of bear that in mind, that for the most part, we are still setting the lower highs and the lower lows. And that is bullish to a point. We will be looking for that break to the upside. I just don't think it's going to happen right now. We are oversold on a lot of timeframes though, so expect that bear market rally to continue a little ways. But we do have to respect the idea of going in both directions during this moment of volatility. I expect ultimately, we are going to end up in a more positive position in the month of October. So I don't think we're done pushing upwards. I reckon that we're probably going to be looking at those EMAs at some point, thinking the 50 EMA could be rejection for us at 2.6 cents. So we can still see a longer term play on the daily and weeklies to the upside, where we can essentially say that there's probably another cent to add to the price, right? We'll look at 2.6 rather than the current price of 1.6. Ultimately, though, we are bearish on this one for a little bit more within those new bear market lows, but we have to appreciate the bear market rallies from time to time and a push upwards towards that 50 EMA. Let's just take a look at what happened back in December of 2022. We had that run upwards towards 3.6, and then we come back down into a new bear market low. This was not a turning point. This was not a turn to say that the bear market low was in, okay, and that we were bullish on the market. As you can see here, that the rejection has occurred, and we go down into new bear market lows just a few days ago. Okay, so we know that although we can have these bear market rallies, as we saw in the early part of 2023, we still come back down into those new lows. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm saying here, is I'm expecting us to kind of move up a little ways before we come back down into new bear market lows. Okay, so just kind of keep an eye, expect the volatility, trade the volatility if you want, and it's a great way of kind of adding to your positions in these fantastic bear markets that we have here. So I think I'm going to wrap the video up right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.